A few months ago, one of the executives in our department left on very short notice, which, needless to say, really put our department on the spot as there was no one to replace him. The day he left, the vice president of our department, who is my boss, called me in and told me he was going to try and divide up the work amongst a couple of the people in the department. The two people he had already spoken to did not want the additional responsibility. They didn't exactly turn him down flat, but they told him that they were very busy as it was, and they didn't exactly volunteer. So he asked me if I wanted to handle some of the overload. Well, I've always made it a policy of mine to never turn down anything that looked like an opportunity, and that's what this looked like to me. So I said, yeah, I'll take the whole job. He looked pretty surprised, but I think he was pleasantly surprised. After he left my office, I got together with my secretary and we did some work on my incoming and outgoing phone calls, where all the incoming calls were taken in the morning and the outgoing calls were taken in the evening. And my secretary also took on a lot more responsibility and a lot more of the chores herself, which she was very, very happy to do. And after about 2 weeks of this, my secretary and I were handling twice the calls, twice the meetings, about half again as many personal conferences, and the work week actually seemed to go a lot faster. Last week the boss called me in again, told me the board was very happy with the work that we've been doing, and offered me a new job, make the job permanent with a new title and a raise to go along with it. So I guess that shows you that necessity is not only the mother of invention, it's the mother of opportunity as well.
I wanted you to hear that man's story because it illustrates one of the best ways I know to stimulate creative thinking. In one word, capacity. In any endeavor you choose to pursue, the success formula is first, do what you do better, and second, do more of it. Improve both the quality and the quantity of your output. That second part means increasing your capacity. Remember our analysis of time excusitis? This is where you can put that cure to work. There is a two-step procedure that can show you how. First, always eagerly accept the opportunity to do more. It's a compliment to be asked to take on new responsibility. Accepting greater responsibility on the job makes you stand out. It shows you're more valuable. Now the second step is this. Concentrate on how can I do more? Ask that question and creative answers are certain to come. Now some of these answers may be better planning and organization of your present work, or taking intelligent shortcuts in your routine activities, or possibly dropping some non-essential activities altogether. But again, the solutions for doing more will appear when you ask the question, how can I do more? Earlier, I cited an old business axiom. If you want something done, give it to a busy person. I personally refuse to work on any project with someone who has plenty of time. The lesson I've learned from painful experience over the years is that the person with plenty of time generally wants to keep it that way. He's more interested in avoiding responsibility than he is in increasing his output. All successful, competent people are busy. All the successful businesses I know are busy. These businesses constantly ask themselves, how can they increase their output? Now, why not ask yourself the same question? How can you increase your output?
Capacity is one tool for success. Another is the skill of listening. In any organization, whether it's government or business or the arts or any other endeavor, listening becomes more important and more prevalent the higher you go up the executive ladder. The more responsible the position, the more likely the person holding it is to be a good listener. You will never find an executive in any healthy organization buttonholing someone in the hall and running down all their problems to them. That's the tactic of a mediocre person, the one who's envious of the power and success of others. If you have a conversation with a high-level executive at work, you'll probably find that the executive encourages you to do most of the talking, while he or she does most of the listening. That's the mark of a leader. Success-minded people tend to monopolize the listening, while small-minded people tend to monopolize the talking. The reason for this is that a leader in any field is a kind of human decision-making machine, and for that machine to work, it has to have raw materials, and the raw materials for making decisions are the ideas and opinions of other people, in addition to one's own. Other people won't provide answers and solutions, but they will provide the grist for the leader's creative mill. So if you walk into a top-level meeting at General Motors or the White House or the local school board, you'll most likely find that the person in charge is listening to what others have to say. That person knows that listening is what will give them the information they need to make tough, important decisions. To develop your own listening skills, try this procedure. First, encourage others to talk. In personal conversations or in group meetings, draw out other people with phrases like, "Tell me about your experience," or "What do you think should be done about this?" or "What do you feel is the key point here?" This will give you two important benefits. Your mind soaks up raw material that you can then use to produce creative thought, and you'll also win the friendship and the respect of others. Next, test your own views in the form of questions. Let other people help you smooth and polish your ideas. Use the "What do you think of this suggestion?" approach. But don't be dogmatic. Don't announce a fresh idea as if it were handed down to you on a golden tablet. Do a little information research first. See how your associates react to the idea. If you do this, chances are you'll end up with a better idea. Finally, concentrate on what the other person says. Listening is more than just keeping your mouth shut. Listening means letting what's said really penetrate your mind. So often, people pretend to listen when they're really not listening at all. They're just waiting for the other person to pause so they can take over the talking. Concentrate on what the other person says. Evaluate it. That's how you collect mind food.
This is who, my mother was a Sunday school teacher. What you want me to be? What? My mother was a Sunday school teacher. She taught church Sunday school. That's what I was raised in. What else I'm gonna be? What? But I have to come in places that are different and let you be who you are. Because I am not right and you are wrong. You are right. You are 1,000% correct in Islam. Islam is 1,000% correct. It's your faith. How can I say different? My faith works for me. It is for me. It is in my heart. It works for me. My God has to judge me for me. Your Highness told me yesterday, he said, I can't repeat everything because it's very private, but he's such a brilliant man. He understood. He said, man, there is a heaven, there is a hell. How you get there, that's up to you. I just want to go to heaven. My life, I had enough hell. I don't want no more. I just want to go see heaven. What it is I'm assuming some of us is going. I'm assuming some of us ain't. You just have to decide. I'm thinking about going though. Now the room kind of got a little tight on this subject right here, so we're going to move past this. I was just telling you who I am. That's who I am. If you can accept that about me, I can accept it about you. Huh? And yesterday, my man Jay, he bought a tailor to my room, and I got, how many did I make, Jay? 4? They making 8 caftans for me. So tomorrow, it's caftans? 8, they made 8 of them for me. So tomorrow, I'm gonna have on my caftan tomorrow. I'm gonna be rocking the caftan when you see me tomorrow. Yeah. I haven't quite figured this out yet. I don't know. I've been trying to work that out. Cause a lot of y'all like the way y'all do it, like the dude right there, he got his cocked up on one side. I like that. Then the other dude, he got hit, and one dude had his pulled over. I said, woo! So I gotta figure my style out, you know. But I have my caftan tomorrow. I'm gonna have it later today, so I'm gonna be nice.
I think Steve's gonna start some fashion trends in the UAE tomorrow. Steve.
Yeah, I kind of messed up though because I was trying to get some more stuff put on it, you know, some embroidery, and he told me you cannot do it. I wanted to put some, you know, some designs on it. He told me I can't do that, so I'm gonna have to. I got one white one, but I got a lot of other colors. Just wanted to try something other than white. Y'all see me, I'm gonna have on a blue one. I got green, yellow, gold, blue. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. This Steve Harvey, I'm a star. Don't worry about that. I'm gonna look different. Everybody going, no. Yeah, somebody gotta do it.
Steve, you are a star. Now the successes continue. It doesn't seem like you're going to stop anytime soon, to be honest. So is it fair to say you can never be too successful? Is that a fair statement? When does it stop? When is it okay to stop?
Well, that's up to the individual. I think in my line of work, If I retire, what do I do? What? A lot of people retire and they just wither away. They dry up. They sit. I've seen old people retire and they just start folding up. They stop going to work. They stop living. I don't know that I can do that because I'm different now. I'm a motivational speaker. I travel. I'm taking my foundation to Africa. If I stop doing that, what I'm gonna do? You know, I was talking to my sons one day. One of my sons is here. And I was telling him, I said, one day I'm gonna stop working. You're gonna take over. I'm gonna be on a yacht out in the middle of the ocean. I want you to send my money to me out on my yacht. He said, okay, Dad, I'm gonna send you your money. Then I got to looking at him. I said, he probably ain't gonna send me all of it. So I probably need to keep working.
full engagement in that area is going to determine the level of fulfillment you have or don't have in a relationship, right? The more engaged somebody feels that you are with them, the more energy you have, the more connection you have, the more aliveness you have. So part of what I'd like to kind of like experiment with here is kind of discover what creates engagement for real with you, what creates disengagement, because these are huge factors. Because if you understand what they are, your level of performance, your level of results, your level of leadership, your level of joy will change very, very radically. Who's with me that engagement is not just a term, but something that can make a difference in your body? Let me see a show of hands. Say I. Now, I'm asking for your hand raised for some engagement. Because here's what research shows. If you listen to me passively as I'm talking here, guess what? Within a month, you just listen, sit passively. Most of you are doing it. There's nothing wrong with this, what you've been doing your whole life, what you've been taught to do. You'll remember about 10% of what I say 2 months from now, which basically means you wasted your time today and I wasted mine. 10%. How many came here because you want to learn something, do something, change something, make something stronger or better? Say I. If that's true, then if all you do is take notes, which I don't see anyone barely doing, thank you very much, a few of them. I stand corrected and nudge the people on either side. What's wrong with you, bitch? Come on, where's the notes? Right? Because I don't know anybody who's got that great a memory. In my entire life, I've kept journals. Because here's what I learned early on. Writing it down, if I never look back and read it again, the physical act of writing it down drives the groove deeper. Repetition is the mother of skill. You look at anyone who's masterful. Why are they masterful? Why can LeBron James do what he can do? Because he's done it a few million times, right? You know, Kobe will go out and make 300 shots before he will leave that floor every day. 300 shots. The same freaking activity. Most people in tech world, I heard that story, I know that thing, yeah. If you're not doing it, you don't know shit. You understand. And understanding in $3 will almost get you a Starbucks. If you're going to master something, you need to get the repetition where you get it in your body and you bring emotion to it, and enough motion, enough repetition, it gets in your body, and now it becomes physical mastery. You don't think about it and you just do it. Mastery is tying your shoes. Most of you can do this, chew on some gum, send a text simultaneously. Not some people leave their tongue out while they're doing it. You get the idea. If you do something enough, and you're confident enough, you're certain enough it's in your body. That's mastery. So I'd like to see if we couldn't get to a different level of mastery in this. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, by the way, if you listen and take notes, just write those notes down or you type them in, whatever you do. Research shows you'll retain about 40 to 50% of what's been said. For the future, I'd highly engage or encourage you to do that. Now might be a good time.
There are other types of goals to consider. Family goals, social goals, lifestyle goals. This is pretty heavy homework, but remember, whether or not you do your homework shows up in the marketplace as well as in the classroom. After you have determined which of your goals are 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year, and after you've made certain your list includes economic goals, things, and personal development goals, I want you to go back to this list again. Now pick out the 4 most important 1-year goals, the 4 most important 3-year goals, the 4 most important 5-year goals, and the 4 most important 10-year goals. Those 16 goals will give you plenty of work for now. Get out some more paper, and in a brief paragraph, describe each goal. How high, how long, how much, what size, what model, what color, for example. Also describe why it is important to you. This is a process where you either talk yourself into it or talk yourself out of it, which is good. When you're unclear as to why something is important, usually you put only half-hearted effort into it. What you want is a powerful motivator, but the reason why you want it is an even more powerful motivator. It has greater pull.
Has there ever been anybody in your life who made you feel special like that? Like when you were a little boy or a little girl, maybe it was your grandmother, your mom, your dad, a school teacher, a coach. Is there somebody in your life, they just kind of knew there was something about you? How many of you have that person? You can just picture them. I don't care who it was. Everybody does, by the way. The Lord sends all of us one. All of us in our life. If you haven't had them yet, they're going to arrive. You picture their face. You picture how much, it was just the way they looked at you. For me, it was my grandfather. I'm Edward III. And I would ride on his little lap, which you'd never do today, in his little van. We would drive to go get donuts in the morning before church on Sundays. And he had all these grandkids. He'd go, your other cousin, you're going to do something great. And I'd look up at him. I am, Papa. You're going to do something great. And he'd tell me over and over. When one of my cousins was born, Peter, I was really jealous when he was born, and Papa called me at the house and said, he's still my favorite because you're going to do something great. He just knew there was something special about me. We've all had someone like that in our life. They just knew. He made me feel special. He saw the God in me. He saw Christ in me. He saw my blessings. He saw my gifts in me. All my life, I've tried to prove him right. That person who saw that greatness in you, picture their face. Maybe it was your mom, grandma, your dad, uncle, coach. They just know how special. Because you are. Listen to me. Because you are. Picture their face. If you think about it long enough, you'd actually get emotions. They're the one person who saw who you really are. The key here before we leave, you see it. You're special. You're anointed. You're gifted. You're blessed. You're supposed to make a difference in the world. You're supposed to win. I promise you. I don't even know you, but I know where you come from. I know whose DNA is running through your blood. I know you come from the King of Kings. I know you're going to do something great in your life. And even if you're not religious or spiritual, I don't give a crap. I'm just telling you, you're going to do something great. You're going to do something great with your life. Prove them right. Honor those people. You can't cry. Honor those people with your life.
And Elijah has this moment, he's been exposed to Elijah. Exposure is the first step to transition. You can't change if you haven't been exposed. People who know better do better. He was exposed to the mantle, and all of a sudden he can no longer stay where he was before. And that is a kairos moment, a powerful moment in the kingdom. When you're exposed to a ministry or a man of God or a woman of God, and all of a sudden you cannot be who you were before, that is a divine moment of God. It has nothing to do with money. It may require relocation. It may require being out of your comfort zone. It may require downsizing, but you're called to it, and you start boiling stuff and burning stuff and kissing your mother and father goodbye. It's stronger than a natural blood tie. It's stronger than a DNA. It'll pull you out of the church that your whole family was in, but you gotta go because something has happened in your life, and you can't stay in the first church of the Frigidaire because you've been exposed to a realm of glory. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. It'll make black folks hook up with white folks. It'll make white folks hook up with black folks. It'll make intelligent folk who get behind folks that are illiterate, but they're anointed and gifted. It'll make you give up your position, take a downside to be in the center of his will because you've been exposed to a realm of glory and a move of the Spirit, and you've got to have it in your life. Bless God, I got to stop because I feel the anointing of the Holy Ghost. There must be somebody in this room that's been called to the kingdom for such a time as this.
You may find that some of your goals you thought at first glance were important are not important after all. Do some reflecting, refining, and revising. The point is, right now, try to have approximately 4 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year goals that you truly believe in, that inspire you, that you've sold yourself on. When these goals and the reasons you want to obtain them are each clearly described in a brief paragraph, transfer this information to a journal or some type of notebook that you can carry with you easily and refer to often. It's essential to set aside some time every week to review all of your goals, to rearrange them, redo them, restructure them, to add goals, or to tear up the whole list and start over. Goal setting is not something you do just once. It's a continual process. Also, you must constantly check your progress toward your goals. You don't want to fall too far behind on, or worse, lose sight of, your important goals. Now, just as important as your long-range goals are your short-range goals. Your goals for tomorrow, next week, next month, 6 months from now. These are goals you can accomplish within the next year, the immediate future. We call these goals confidence builders. When you work hard, burn the midnight oil, and accomplish these little things, it builds your confidence to go for your long-range goals. Write down in your notebook or journal all the little things you would like to have or accomplish in the next year. How you set up this list is up to you. You might want to break it down by week or by month. Set it up in whatever way works well for you. Part of the fun of having a list is being able to check off something as obtained or completed. Every week, try to check off at least one thing on your list of short-term goals. And when you are able to check off something major, something on your list of long-range goals, celebrate. Make winning joyful. Congratulate yourself. It is very important to celebrate progress. We grow from 2 experiences. One is the joy of winning, and the other is the pain of losing. Here's what that also means. Make losing painful. Put it on yourself. If you set something up, fooled around, didn't pull it off, put it on yourself. And get around people who will help in this area. Hey, don't join an easy crowd. Go where the expectations are high, where the pressure to perform is high. It's how we grow. I'm certain that part of the reason why people let goal setting slide is because it is a lot of work. As I said, you'll be constantly revising your lists of short-range and long-range goals, rearranging them, refining them, redesigning them, establishing different priorities, adding new goals, perhaps deleting others. It's interesting that so many people work hard on their jobs, but they don't work hard on their futures. They let that slide. Some people live such mediocre lives that at the end of the day, they don't know whether they're winning or losing. They just go through life with their fingers crossed.
meeting Pat Riley, the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. But you're going to like this quote here. After the Trailblazers had blown them out of the water, and I'm sure he said this last night, they asked him, how do you feel? He said, tonight we were exposed for what we are right now. You see? That if my speech tonight doesn't work, it doesn't mean that I'm a bad speaker. It means that what I did didn't work tonight. And I've got to separate what I do from who I am. And I've got another shot. See, the last chapter to your life has not been written yet, and it doesn't matter about what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter about the things that you've done that you feel guilty about. If you wouldn't do it today, you're convicting an innocent person. You've been reborn to a new state of consciousness. And as they say, if we knew better, we would do better.
You know, everybody has a different temperament and personality, and it's something that has to be developed, you know, over a period of time. If you're too shy, you should really learn to push that into a small corner and speak up more. If you're a little too loud, maybe you should, you know, calm down just a little bit. But we shouldn't try to just radically become someone else. But that's what sophistication and civilization is supposed to do, is to make us civil. And to be civil in a civil society, we all must deal with that dark side of our nature, the positive side of our nature. And it isn't that it ever gets done or finished, but that we should suppress those things that would cause us trouble, not only within ourselves, but cause us trouble with someone else. It's a never-ending challenge, but to still always be who you are. But who we are is, you might describe it as dual nature. And the key to life is to become the most of the good in you and the least of the bad. So it's important also to see if you can't work on those things that, you know, are not in your best interest, both in your thinking process and developing your plans for the future, or in your process of working with others, sitting at a conference table or being involved in an enterprise. That's a constant. When some become wealthy now, they have to deal with ego that didn't show its sort of ugly head until, you know, the money was flowing like a river, and now this little gremlin on one shoulder whispers and says, now's the time, right, to, you know, conquer the world and let everybody know you're the master. And sure enough, it can cause all kinds of problems. One of the greatest difficulties of wealth is, you know, handling this issue of ego and keeping it under control. So we need to reveal who we are, but we also need to master the art of who we are presented as our best, as it serves us and our children, as it serves us and our friends, as it serves us in our business. But it is a constant and it never ends. But if we can appeal, make a personal appeal to ourselves, I want to constantly work on developing the positive side of my nature and do my best to suppress that darker side that would not allow me to be most of what I can possibly be. I think that's what's important. When a president becomes president, it's interesting, you know, what ego might do. Old Testament says this king came to power and he was a good king. Then the next king came to power and he was a bad king. I think trying to find your passion is a little bit, maybe too strong a word. Greatly desiring to be extremely successful, I think probably is sufficient. But if you can find something you really love to do and can do it with great passion, I think that's fantastic. But I think being grateful probably is number one. If you've got a job, you got to be grateful. Say, this isn't the greatest job in the world, but even if it's a transitional job getting you where you want to go, you got to be grateful. You don't have to love your job or be passionate about your job, just passionate about staying steady, working hard, learning skills, doing this job so well that the next one will be even better, and taking such good care of this opportunity, another one will present itself. Sometimes the man says, well, if I had a good job, I'd really pour it on. But I've got this lousy job, so I just goof off. So that's not the attitude nor the philosophy. So if you'd really pour it on, this one, even though it may not be the best job in the world, if it furnishes a living, you have to be grateful. If it takes care of you and your family, you got to have gratitude.
not necessarily passion, but gratitude. But I think if you have an extreme desire to wish to be successful, so you can accomplish all you wish to accomplish, be as generous as you'd like to be as strong as you'd like to be in terms of financial strength, involved in entrepreneurial projects that you can't do without, let's say, sizable money, so you go for that. To me, I think that's sufficient. I think if you say you have to find your passion, people find that a little bit confusing. Where would I find it? And what could I be passionate about? I guess you could start with saying, I'm passionate about providing unusual success for myself and for my family, so that my children will say in the years to come, we had the most incredible life together as a family. Then I think the key is to let what you want to accomplish, let that grow. Where at first this is as far as you can see, but if you'll do that, you could say, wow, maybe I could multiply by 2, by 3, and expand my vision, accomplish a lot more. If you have an enterprise, maybe you could make it stronger and better and more far-reaching. Let that happen. It's difficult to figure it all out and then get that done. We just don't do that. We can figure out the next little part of our life that we can see, and then we can say, well, eventually I'd like to have, and let those dreams linger somewhere in your consciousness. I say make a list of all the things that would give you the most incredible life. Just make that list. What would do it for you over the next 10, 20 years? Places to go, things to see, people to meet, books to read, skills to learn, investments to make, being generous. Make lists of all the things that you think would make for you a really fantastic life. And at first, don't worry about how to get it. Just let your mind run free and think what would really do it for you. And then just begin and let those lists alter. Because sometimes you start for something and then you say, sure enough, I thought this was really going to be everything I wanted. Sure enough, this is really not it. Or I can see now, long before you are going to accomplish it, I'm investing too much money and time and effort. So you change. And anytime you want, you can tear up your whole list and start all over again. Some people say, I made the list, so I have to accomplish it. And the answer is no, you don't have to do it. It's your life. It's your list. You can turn it upside down, right side up, scratch off some things, put some new things on, or start all over again. Don't let it become an obsession. Let it become an enticement. Better to be enticed than obsessed. Or we might invest too much effort and time in something that's not really going to turn out to be as great as we thought it would. The old prophet said, sometimes things that taste good in the mouth later turns bitter in the belly. We think, oh, this is it. Sure enough, it was a bit of an illusion. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Right? One of the lines is, they are illusions. They're not the solutions they promised to be. But that's a learning experience, and we can only be affected by what we see. Someone says, well, you shouldn't have devoted so much of your time and energy. But if that's what you could see, only that at the moment, we're going to do it, and we just learn as we go. We need a collection of experience to give us good data on what to do, what not to do. Sometimes you need more experience to make a wiser decision. If a person says, well, I've eaten junk food now for a week, but look how strong and healthy I am, see, that's a delusion. 1 week is not going to give you the right kind of information about how you feel, whether it's a good idea to continue or not. You need a lot more experience than that to decide whether or not it's good for you. I used this illustration once with the candle lit, talking about having enough experience to make wise decisions. And I said, would all of you agree that the fire will burn my finger? Let's say that I don't know that, but you're trying to teach me now. If you put your finger in the flame, it will burn your finger. I say, okay, I'm ready to try it. So I put my finger in the flame and take it out, fairly quickly, in and out, right in the flame and out. And I say, look, my finger's okay. Let me try it again. And I put my finger in the flame and take it right out. And I say, my finger's okay. Where did you get this idea that the flame would burn my finger? And they say, no, Mr. Rohn, you can't just go like this really quick and put your finger and take it right out of the flame to know that the flame will burn your finger. You've got to leave your finger in there just a little longer. Say, oh yes, then I need a little more experience to make a wise decision. Say, well, I've taken this cocaine and I feel okay. But see, you don't know the end of that road. This is only the beginning when it seems to be okay. But you need more experience. Now, if you don't have any personal experience on cocaine, then you've got to go to someone who has and says, look, 20 years of my life was wasted and I finally turned it around. Like some of the old rock and rollers that have turned it around. Amazing. I was in Paris the other day, had 20,000 in my class. Also in town were the Rolling Stones, who rolled into Paris and stopped for a while with Mick Jagger and all the rest. These guys got through those treacherous days of drugs and alcohol, somehow made it. A lot of them didn't make it. Boy George said, I woke up one day and all my friends were dead. That's enough experience. So maybe if you haven't had enough, you're just getting started.